G'day, it's Jay, and welcome back to Derriere Farms. I had a chance to play with my Elm Creek map now for a couple of weeks since power came back, and since I managed to download and update the Precision Farming DLC update. So I thought now would be as good a time as any to see exactly what the update fixed and whether it is as Giants says. Now, if you like to be kept up to date on changes to the game, updates and patches and fixes, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because I do release videos on a regular basis whenever something changes or whenever I discover something new. So, subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you'll never miss a video. Okay, the first thing I noticed, well, it's two funny things that I noticed, is first that none of the other YouTubers have really covered the precision farming update. There's plenty of videos on precision farming, it's just nobody's really covered the update yet. Which is odd because precision farming in 19, they haven't released any numbers for 22 yet, but in 19, precision farming was by far the most popular download or DLC for the game. Second thing that I noticed is the changelog on the patch notes is 1.0.1.0. That's a very low number for a changelog. Usually a changelog or a patch note is 1.1, 1.2, 1.21 if it's a very minor change. So this tells me these are minor changes that are being implemented and there is yet more to come. In terms of fixing, well, I won't say fixing because it's not totally broken, but improving. There, that's a much better term for it. Improving precision farming. Okay, so the first thing that Giants say they've done is mulching and rolling have again a yield impact. Oh my God, that's horrible English. Mulching and rolling again have a yield impact. I guess it gets lost in translation. Now, you can see this field. They've changed the nitrogen levels slightly in the game for the various crops too, and that's not mentioned in the patch notes. As you can see, I'm at 90 of 80 kilograms per hectare, whereas I'm still perfect, but I was at 80 of 80 because I used the sensors to actually put fertilizer down on this field before it grew this tall. Now my English is terrible. As you can see, my expected yield is 89% or 3.3 tons per hectare compared to 89% potential yield or 3.3 tons per hectare potential yield. And I mulched and I rolled this field. So I never had that problem. I was always getting, with mulching and rolling, I was always getting 100% yield as long as I took care of my weeds properly. And if you want to know how to take care of weeds, I do have a video on dealing with weeds in precision farming on the channel, so check that out. Second change is that they fixed the wrong display of the expected yield. Now, expected yield, again, I wasn't having this problem. It was saying 89%. It's still giving me roughly the same percentage or 3.3 tons per hectare as it was before. So my expected yield and my yield potential have always matched up. But I'm guessing for some people there was a problem with that. Side note, if you've never noticed in Farming Simulator, sunflowers, just like the solar panels, actually turn and face the sun, just like they do in real life. This is a new feature that wasn't in the previous game. Anyway, totally off topic. Now let's talk about what they haven't fixed or changed. Grapes and olives. Totally unaffected by precision farming, just like they were with the original precision farming. The only problem is, let's look at my precision farming score, and you can see the only reason I'm at 80% for these 3 fields is because they're all tied in together. See? And, sorry, I meant to do that. Was because I fixed this field, so it's at 80%. I fixed the nitrogen. I planted grass there, harvested it, so I boosted my score for these 3 fields. But it's still giving me a penalty for, well, you can see the penalties it's giving me. Weeds, because there's no weeds. It's not recognizing it. And tillage. Even though I have done everything you're supposed to do with grapes and olives, I have no tillage score. This is another grape and olive field down here. This one's totally independent. Sorry, this is another grape field, not a grape and olive field. But this is another grape field, and it's totally independent of these 3 fields. So I'm being penalized for nitrogen, pH, weeds, and tillage. The only thing I'm getting a real score for here is the fact that I took soil samples. What was the point? I don't know, because again, grapes and olives are unaffected by precision farming. So I'm getting rather frustrated with grapes and olives, and I'll deal with that in another video, but I'm seriously considering ripping up my grape and olive fields. Whether I'm going to replant them or not, I don't know. There are mods out there that allow you to buy grapes and olives. Next up, the influence of a single field to the total environmental score is now dependent on the field size. This basically means that for me, on this farm, field 71 and field 70 have more influence on my environmental score than these smaller fields do. So that's probably a good thing. It's helping to offset my penalty that I'm getting for my grapes and olives. As you can see, if I'm at 91%, I'm still working my way upwards. So my only worry is that I own this big forest area. And I'm considering selling it because I'm thinking that's penalizing my environmental score, because even though it doesn't have a field number, and I have not done enough research to know yet whether, well, actually, this field here does not have a field number, but it's got an environmental score. This doesn't. Oh, no, it does, 98. So maybe I am getting some influence out of that big field. So to me, that's a plus. The bigger the field, the more influence it has on your environmental score. So if you take care of your big fields and do them properly, then you're good to go. I'm not sure. This is 2 fields I've plowed together. I'm not sure why I'm getting more of a nitrogen penalty in this field than I am in this field. I know what the problem is down here. This was because I just plowed these fields all together. So it was a different crop in this field than it was in this field. That's why I'm at 99 versus 89. So I think that's a plus. Something that is good for precision farming, that the bigger the fields, as long as you take care of them, work properly now. They fixed invisible doors on the shed. Well, I wasn't aware that there were any invisible doors on the shed, and I guess since I have the patch, I can't go and check it out now. because it'll be fixed. Fixed environmental score with soybeans. That is a major bonus because, as anyone, I like to grow soybeans. Soybeans are very profitable, and however, their yield per hectare isn't that high, so you tend to plant 2 fields of soybeans for every field of, let's say, barley you plant. So the fact that you're not taking a nitrogen penalty anymore for soybeans is amazing. I just have to harvest my soybeans and we'll be good to go. Fixed nitrogen requirements for grass. Now, so they've changed the nitrogen, like I said, for other crops too. It's nothing major. The big one is grass. Grass used to have a nitrogen requirement of 125 kilograms per hectare, as you can see from this field. I'm at 125 kilograms. You now require 55 kilograms per hectare. And I haven't done the math on it yet, but let's take a quick drive over to this field. I can't remember if I've harvested this one. I haven't harvested the other one because it's just so small. Apart from the... So it dropped it from 125 to 95, so it now reduces grass, what is that, 30 by 30 kilograms per hectare, whereas it used to drop grass from 125, pretty much all the way down. So amazing. You need a ton less fertilizer, makes silage even more profitable again. That's a major bonus. All right, and the next point. Sprays with spot spraying equipped. So basically, if you have a spot sprayer that's got the proper equipment equipped to do spot spraying, they say will now only fertilize on spots where needed. Well, I'm thinking that's a typo because sprayers have only added, same as manure spreaders, they only add the fertilizer you tell them to, they don't overlap. So I'm thinking what they meant to say was spot spraying equipment basically now only sprays weeds where it's supposed to, as opposed to overlapping sometimes, which should help your weeding score. And the final point is, while starting to use precision farming on old save games, the fertilizer state of the field is translated into more initial nitrogen. For any of you that have either followed my precision farming series or have done it yourself, if you convert your farm from a non-precision farming farm to a precision farming farm, basically none of your fields had any nitrogen or pH. Even if you had just spread lime and fertilizer, so you had the double blue state as well as a full lime state, it basically eliminated that, dropped everything to the minimum values, and you had to do it all over again. Unfortunately, they didn't fix the lime. That needs to be fixed, because I think lime should be exactly the same as fertilizer. Is if you've already applied it, you shouldn't have to reapply it. What I have noticed on a test plot that I did on Aubé-Laurent was that the nitrogen level, while a lot higher than it was converting an old save game, is still not perfect. You do still need to go over that field with a fertilizer spreader just to fix the nitrogen levels before you harvest. Let me just add, that is if you want to get your maximum yield. You can harvest without doing it if you want to, but you won't get your maximum yield. I did try on this game, which was precision farming already in progress. And I'll explain what I mean. I purchased 2 fields. These 2 fields here, 28 and 29, after installing the patch to see if and they were 1 blue state, not 2, so they still needed a second level of fertilizer. Unfortunately, that nitrogen fix only seems to work when converting the entire farm. It does not seem to work on an existing save game where you've already got fields and stuff in place, because when I purchased these 2 fields, I needed to go over them again with a lime spreader as well as a fertilizer spreader, and it required a lot more fertilizers than it did on Obeilera, where I was starting fresh. If that makes sense, hopefully it does. So I don't know why. I'm not a programmer, so I can't tell you why it affects new games and not existing save games. But they do say on old save games, not existing save games. So, I don't know. Part of the problem with Giants is a lot gets lost in translation, so you don't always know exactly what they're trying to say. Okay, with those points out of the way, let's go back to the topic of oilseed radish. And as I said, it now adds nitrogen back into the soil. That's been fixed. It's 25 kilograms per hectare. That's not a lot. And I don't know how realistic that is or not. Because I don't know what it converts to in acres. And let me just jump over. I don't know if I have my manure spreader or slurry spreader attached. I do. The slurry spreader is basically if you disable automatic application rate, and you go over, I think you only need to hit 1 or 2 bars to get 25%, or not 25%, 25 kilograms per hectare. Yeah, see, I have it adjusted for two increments, so it's applying 50 kilograms per hectare of nitrogen, which is double what oilseed radish has. On this farm, I have a pig farm and I have a dairy farm and a beef farm, so I am not short of manure or slurry. So it's cheaper for me to do manure than it is to do oilseed radish. I'm kind of glad they fixed the oilseed radish though, because well, I don't know. I mean, this is just my personal opinion. For a starter farm, 25 kilograms a hectare, depending on what you're planting, is not a hell of a lot. If you're planting a crop like corn that takes 200 kilograms per hectare of nitrogen, you still need to put down a lot of solid fertilizer if you don't have enough animals that you can use manure to boost your level. So I'm just trying to think, with the exception of the lowest crop that I can think of comes in at 80 kilograms a hectare requirement of nitrogen. So I would have liked to have seen them at least boost oilseed radish to 50 kilograms a hectare to make it worthwhile. So that's it for the changes. Overall, pretty good. I've noticed a little bit of an improvement in my farm since the patch came out. Like I said, my biggest issue is that grapes and olives, the fields they're planted on still give you a major environmental hit. If you look down here to my, for some reason the olive fields are registering that weeds are taken care of. I don't understand why. So there's still some work to be done on precision farming, in my opinion, because I don't think you should be taking a hit for grapes and olives. Since they're not affected by precision farming. So if you found this video useful, go ahead and give it a like. I'm going to stop right here. I'm not going to discuss any further my opinion on soybeans. I'm glad they fixed the fact that you don't take a penalty for it, but I would like to see improvements to soybeans, as they are also a nitrogen-fixing crop, just like oilseed radish. But as I said, I'm trying to limit my videos to 20 minutes because of several comments that have been left. And I am going to leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Take care. Jay.